This is Chad with Believe in the Run, aka the Clydesdale, and I am here to bring you what I think are the best shoes of 2025 thus far. As of right now, I have 5 shoes here that I think are the best I've run in 2025. We just so happened to have one shoe I'd classify as recovery day, one shoe that's more of a daily trainer, 2 super trainers, and a race day shoe. It just so happened to work out like that. Didn't plan it, but in my eyes, this is what I think are the 5 best of 2025. Now, I'm gonna start with recovery day because that's actually what I normally start my week with in running, because I've usually done my long run on the weekends. That first day back on Monday, I usually need something nice and protective. I think right now the best recovery day shoe that I've run in 2025 is the New Balance More V6. New Balance just seems to have dialed in the More so much that they really didn't have to change much from the More V5 to the More V6. The upper still has that same soft premium feel. Underneath, they're using the version of Fresh Foam X that you find in the Premium Trainer 1080. So not only does it have that real soft to the touch and soft underfoot squish, but it also has some nice bounce and responsiveness to really kind of find that real blended cushioning, because on days when your legs are dead from a 15-mile long run, it's really nice a day or so later to be able to run in something that's going to give you something back and also absorb a lot of what you're putting into it. I think one of the other really great things about the More V6 is the price point. The fact that you can get this for, I believe it's $155 for the amount of shoe you get here and what you can get out of this shoe. It's got decent outsole coverage. You're probably going to be able to get a ton of miles out of this shoe. Just such a great value. I think it looks great. It performs great. It's got that super wide base, which I absolutely love. At the end of the day, one of my top favorite shoes is the More V6. Moving on to one of my other favorite shoes of the year, this falls more into the daily trainer category, and that is the Topo Athletic Phantom 4. I rave about Topo. There is just something so nice about this brand. One is the anatomical toe box and the natural foot shape. Just gives your toes the perfect amount of room to splay out, to feel natural on the run. They livened up the zip foam a little bit. Zip foam in the Phantom 3 was a little bit, I don't even want to say necessarily firm, but it was a little bit more resilient. It wasn't necessarily soft. This is a little bit softer, but it also gained some bounce to it. It also gained a few millimeters of stack height while retaining the 5mm drop. One of the great things about Topo shoes is they are what I would classify as stable neutral. So basically you can run in them knowing you're gonna kind of stay in line. It does have a pretty good rocker and toe spring. The Phantom 3 stayed in my rotation for almost 2 years, and I think the Phantom 4 is gonna do the same. Moving on to the super trainer category, which I think we can all agree is just becoming one of the most popular categories of shoes out there these days. I am enamored with the Prime X3 Strung from Adidas. This shoe, to me, is such an improvement over the Prime X2, and I was a huge fan of the Prime X2. I thought the Prime X2 was great for bigger runners. It had a huge stack of their Light Strike Pro foam. It was shockingly stable for being 50 millimeters of foam. The strung upper was comfortable while at the same time being breathable and thin. Now, a lot of people felt the Prime X2 was a little bit clunky and it didn't necessarily have that pop or excitement. I disagreed. I thought it was a great shoe. The Prime X3 is even better. Somehow I feel like they made the strung upper a little bit more accommodating and more comfortable. The toe box isn't as rigid. I had some issues with my big toe in the Prime X2 strung. I did go up a half a size. I got a size 12 instead of a size 11.5. That fixed all those issues. Overall, I think this is a great shoe. Now, you may have noticed I changed out the laces on mine. My biggest beef with Adidas is they do these booty or thin tongues, and they provide the real harsh, hard laces. I just spent $10 and got myself some soft, stretchy laces to avoid lace bite. And so I think that's gonna make a world of difference in this shoe. The other super trainer that I think is one of the top shoes of 2025 thus far is the Mizuno Neo Vista 2. Once again, this is another shoe that I think made great improvements over the original. The foam is even bouncier and a little more alive than the first version, which almost seems crazy to say because the original Neo Vista was so bouncy and so lively. I know some people said the upper was a step back. I actually really enjoyed this upper. I thought it was even more breathable. As you can see, the holes on the upper are a little bit more noticeable. Knit booty uppers aren't for everyone. There have been times when I've run in a knit booty upper and it wasn't for me just because I didn't feel it kept me stable over the platform. However, the Neo Vista, the way they utilize a plate, it does stay fairly stable, and this upper is soft but rigid enough to keep you up over the platform. And then aesthetically, I think they knocked it out of the park with this shoe, with the medial Mizuno logo and kind of the bluish purple coloring on it. I think it's a striking shoe. It performs well, it looks good. I do think their lacing system could use a little bit of work. I don't know why these laces dive into the shoe at the end. I did get a little rubbing on my ankle from that, where they have them dive in. But other than that, that's really my only complaint about this shoe. And the final shoe that I think is a great shoe in 2025, one of my top 5 falls in the race day category, and that is the New Balance SC Elite V5. The New Balance SC Elite V4 was one of my top rated race day shoes for bigger runners because I felt it was, of the elite race day shoes, it was the least aggressive version out there on the market. The plate wasn't as aggressive, the PIBA wasn't as aggressive, but it was more of a comfortable ride. I think New Balance threw that formula sort of out the window and really went more aggressive in the New Balance SC Elite V5 without sacrificing both underfoot comfort and comfort of the upper. One of the things that was nice about the SC Elite V4 is it had a fairly wide platform in the midfoot, which really gave me that comfortable feel where I didn't feel like I was losing any sort of momentum by rolling in. I was nervous about this in this because, as you can see, it has a much more narrow platform here, but actually the way this rocker and everything works together and the PIBA foam, it actually gets more aggressive while still maintaining a lot of that stability that I enjoyed in the V4. The upper is definitely a little more cohesive. We ragged on the tongue in the SC-V4 because it just felt like a complete afterthought. It was a floppy piece of felt. They now have this gusseted tongue that does have some padding. I could see myself possibly being able to handle 26.2 miles in this shoe, whereas I can't necessarily say the same for a lot of the other elite race day shoes on the market. So that's why this gets tabbed for me as one of the best shoes of 2025. So thus far, those are the favorite shoes that I have run in 2025. You can check out the Believe in the Run website to catch the written reviews of these shoes, or visit the YouTube channel for the video reviews. And I will probably be back at the end of the year to bring you an end of the year roundup, and some of these shoes may be on there. They may get bumped off. We're just gonna have to see.